What's up, fam? We are back on the CEO Pulse podcast where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. We are sitting down with my good old buddy, Devin Burr, with the Burr method.
That's me.
Bro, your story is insane. I mean, you literally jumped into entrepreneurship, bet 100% on yourself, and this is late 2019. Right? It's been a couple of years.
Right.
And you didn't taper into entrepreneurship. You didn't start, kind of dabbling with things here and there. You jumped into specifically real estate and then just exploded from there to now. So I want to break into the mindset of what it takes to do something like that, the highs and the lows that you've seen throughout the process, and then, of course, break into any strategies, tactics, or valuable information and golden nuggets that you can give out to our listeners. So thank you so much, bro, for being in the podcast. It's long overdue.
Well,
Super
dude,
glad to have you, man.
Thank you for having me, man. Thanks for the kind words. It's kind of surreal to me that I'm even sitting here. I'm a big believer of manifesting what you want in your life.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was manifesting once I knew you had this podcast was to be on this podcast. Like I would always say, I'm going to be on Rafael Cortez's podcast. I write it down in the morning. So same thing with Trangs.
Thank you, man.
So Steve Trang, get me on there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. It's been a crazy ride, and entrepreneurship, I think it has to be in you. Like you can't just go be an entrepreneur. It has to be something that you're built for, I think. And it goes back to when I was in third grade. Like my first entrepreneur venture was I bought and sold caramel apple lollipops at school. So I would get them from Costco with my parents' membership, big bag, like 250 of them, and I'd sell them for like 50 cents a piece.
Yeah.
And then I'd bring home all this money, change, some dollars. Some people would buy like 2 or 3. And my mom asked me one time, she's like, "Where'd you get all this money? Are you stealing from your dad?" I'll never forget this. I'm like, "Mom, isn't dad broke?"
What?
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But that was when I realized I want to be my own boss. I don't want to work for someone else. And going through school was tough. Like I kind of just coasted through. I think I graduated with a D average just because I didn't see myself as like an employee. And I think school trains you to be an employee.
So it's important that you bring that up, right? I think the school system does. I mean, and this is a whole different conversation with a 1,000 can of worms in there, but cans of worms. But it's important, right? I think to make a highlight, you feel like the path that the school system was taking you. You're saying that it just didn't feel right, according to. I mean, how old were you when this kind of kicked in? I just want to get some context.
Third grade, so like 8.
You're about 8 years old, and then you're just like sitting there uneasy with what's going on.
I just had the idea. I'm like, because the caramel apple lollipops. You ever had one of those?
Yeah.
They're amazing, right?
Yeah.
But like when I was in grade school, those were the craze. Like kids couldn't get enough of them, right? So at bake sales, they would sell out of them really quick, and they'd charge like 75 cents or whatever it was back then. And it hit me. I'm like, I could just buy those and then resell them. Because I saw them at Costco every time we'd go with my family. I saw a big bag. I'm like, that bag's like $10. I could sell them for 50 cents a piece, make some profit. It just hit me. I'm like, I want to be a business owner. I want to make money on my own terms.
That's insane, bro. At 8 years old, starting to think like that. I know. I mean, it wasn't I was not in that state of mind when I was 8 years old. I mean, I was thinking, Power Rangers and shit. So it's pretty interesting to see how that kind of strikes you at a young age. So walk me through it, right? So you go through school, and then you have this itch, and I think there's two sides, I guess, to becoming an entrepreneur, from a personal standpoint. I think somebody if either we can come wired with that drive and that motivation, or you can have something that happens that's experiential that rewires you as you go through the through life, right? And then you spark that fire in the gut, and then it just that pushes you to do stuff. You kind of came into that very early on. So walk me through the process. You go through school, and then did you jump into any other like personal ventures or stuff like that when you were little, or did you go straight into corporate? And how did that kind of
I'm so glad you said that, because that literally is so true. Because 8 years old, I'm trying to start my own business, right? I'm making money selling lollipops.
It's fucking crazy.
And then for whatever reason, you get like caught up in the the school traditional system, right? You're going through school. Everyone's like, get a high paying job, right? Go to college, get a high paying job. So I went to college and I got a high paying job while I was in college. I was a loan officer. This is back in 05. So I'm 20 years old, 19, 20 years old. And I'm making 10 grand, 11 grand a month. And I'm still going to college. And I knew that like the average person with a degree makes like 50 grand a year. Yeah. So I'm like, why am I going to college? So I dropped out of college and just became a loan officer full time. And I was making good money. I did that all the way until 2019. And that little part, that experience struck in me where I had to change it, like you were saying. And I was basically at work making good money, like 200 grand a year, working 35 hours a week. So I kind of had it set when it came to corporate America. Mm-hmm. But I started seeing how much the company was making. Like I'm making $250 a year. The company's making like $15 million a year based off my production. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So that's when it hit me. I'm like, I could be becoming rich for myself, for my family, not having my efforts have them become rich. Nothing against the company, but I just knew it took me back to when I was 8. Like, I don't want to be an employee. Yeah. Like, I want to be the boss. So
it's interesting, man. I mean, and it's almost like a cliche, right? Because I've heard it 1,000 times, but you're between 9 to 5, you're building somebody else's dream.
Yeah.
Between 9 to 5, you're building somebody else's dream. Yeah, you might be going to work, you might be, and it depends, right? I mean, some people are super happy where they're at, and that's, that's fine. I'm not saying it's for everybody. It's not. Not everybody's willing to go through the heartaches, through the headaches, through the learning curves, through the disappointments, the failures, and everything that comes along with entrepreneurship. But then, you also have those, super high highs, that achievement, that level of success, that taste of, freedom, right?
Right.
So it's extremes on both ends, I think.
100%.
Not everybody's wired or everybody's willing to go through that kind of stuff. From 9 to 5, you're building somebody else's dream. Anything you're working on outside of that 9 to 5 is going to be your dream.
Right.
It's really when so the stuff that I kind of wrapped my mind around was, after I was doing this is when I was at the fire department, right? At the firehouse, that's like the last corporate, quote unquote, corporate job that I had. But I was doing their tasks. Outside of that, I mean, it was my dream. That's when I was working on my business plan, on my stuff. Yeah. And that was more important. Like putting in those, burning the midnight oil was more important than actually, clocking in and clocking out.
Right.
So you saw this, and then you were doing loans for several years. So you got some exposure to the real estate world, right? But how did you, what happened? I mean, you're banking $200,000 a year here. I mean, at that point, you're in the top 10 of people who earners in the United States.
Right.
Top 5, I think it's over 270 or something like that. So that's the average, right? So you're there. What makes you take that leap and say, you know what, this $200K a year is not for me. I want something else, something better.
Man, I think I started just learning more. Like, I started reading books. I started listening to podcasts. I started just really trying to work on myself, just self-development. And I started learning a lot about when you earn money, you pay the most taxes.
Yeah.
And it was apparent. Like, when I'd make a $20,000, $25,000 check, I'd walk home with like 11.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, where did that all go?
Yeah.
So I started seeing that, and I'm like, I'm learning through all these different channels, podcasts and watching YouTube, reading books, that when you're your own boss, an entrepreneur, you make your money, take all your deductions, then you pay taxes, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So it just made so much more sense. And I knew that if I really fall in love with something and I know what I'm doing, there's no stopping. Like, I'm gonna succeed at it. So I just took that leap of faith, and I almost had like an unfair advantage because my wife, she worked at the company and did really well. She still works there. But I knew if I fell flat on my face, like, her income will pay for our bills, and I left on good terms, so I could always come back, So I just took the leap, and it was scary, man. It was super scary, but I'm glad I did.
So what did you, I mean, aside from that, and yeah, taking that leap and betting on yourself, it's daunting to say the least. But what lessons you bring from that space onto your business now? Because I mean, like I said earlier, you didn't just tap into it. I remember we met. I think we met in 2019 when you were just getting started and at a meetup
like
or
December.
yes,
batch.
yeah, something like that. And
I got a story for you for that.
oh, okay, can't wait. So, so you have this wiring pretty much set for the corporate world, and then you're trying to break away from that. When you're saying, I mean, it was scary. What do you mean? What exactly does that mean to you? I mean, what were you thinking? Were you having holdbacks in terms of lifestyle, in terms of time, was it like an internal battle, or was it an external logical type of battle that was happening?
External logical, like internal. I believe in myself. I believe in my capabilities. But you never know. Like you can only see 4 feet in front of you, right?
Yeah.
You can't see what the next year brings.
Right.
Right. So there's always just that internal doubt, even though you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
So I was scared because I'm like, man, what if I can't do
Follow
this?
my face.
Yeah. And like, what if I have to ask for my job back? Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I left for a reason, right? And then I didn't want that feeling of like, I'm not bringing anything in and my wife is carrying the family. Like, I didn't want that. So that kind of stuff scared me. Like, how long is it going to take till I start making money? It took a while, actually. I didn't make any money for, I think, 3 months. My first wholesale check was $950.
So wait, you got into it. You were wholesaling for 3 months, and then nothing came in, and then you got a $900 check. Is that what happened?
Kind of like basically, I locked up a contract on October 7th of 2019, and it was in Chicago, and I thought I was gonna make like $100,000 right on this one deal. So I'm like, half of my income in one deal. I'm gonna quit tomorrow. So I talked to my wife. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go quit.
You told me before we started you quit on October 8th, 2019.
I locked up a deal on October 7th.
Oh, that's insane. That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
All right, so you locked up a deal on the 7th and you say, I'm out. This is it.
I walk into the office, and funniest thing, I actually got promoted that day.
Yeah.
So they pull me in the office, my VP and my director, and they're like, hey, great news. You got promoted. Like, I was like, dope. Well, cool, but I'm quitting now.
About that.
So I quit. I thought I was going to make all this money on that deal in Chicago. Little did I know, it was in a pocket in Chicago where you probably needed a bulletproof vest if you were walking.
Wow.
Like, it was rough. So I didn't know you needed a lawyer in that state, in Illinois. So, like, this deal did not close for like 4 months. So I didn't make money till like February on that deal. It wasn't $100,000. It was like 18. But my first deal was in New Mexico, $950, January 13th. So didn't make any money from October till January. And then once I made that January assignment fee, the floodgates kind of just opened.
It's interesting to see though, because it does happen that way. Once you have that, once I like to call it the reality effect. But once things get real, once you get that first paycheck doing what we do, it's almost impossible to go back. It breaks you. It really like breaks your mindset in a good way.
Yeah.
Because you go through that process and then you figure out, okay, cool, I can do this all over again. I can do it better. Now I know I messed up here, and there, and then we have that whole process of improvement, right?
I just got chills right now because I remember that feeling, dude.
Yeah.
I remember that feeling, seeing this little dinky $950 check. I've actually got a picture of it. And I was like, yeah, like
happy. I guarantee you, it's happiest check you've ever gotten.
Yeah, and I'm just like, this is amazing. I can do this. And then I just doubled down on what it took to get that one.
Yeah.
And like I said, the floodgates opened.
Yeah, and when you say the floodgates open, and I've seen exponential growth, and you're the type of guy, man, that commits to stuff. I haven't seen you dabble really. I mean, you will go all in. I mean, you talk about something and then you're vested, you're in it. And I mean, right. So you went from wholesaling and doing that, and into right now, for example, you're building a portfolio of Airbnb stuff,
right?
And you're tapping into insurance. So you have that entrepreneurial DNA already built in. You're looking for opportunities, right? Mm-hmm. How do you go from the 900 wholesale deal to the portfolio and stuff that you have that you're actually in the process of building up right now? So
I think it comes from like what I was talking about before with not liking to pay taxes. Mm-hmm. Like when you earn income, you pay the most taxes, right?
Yeah.
So same thing with flips and wholesales. Like you pay more taxes than if you own the property because then you got your depreciation, You can write off so much more stuff. You don't get taxed as much on the cash flow. So I started realizing that. I'd done a few flips, did I think like 11 wholesales, and this was like around June. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I want to like have long-term wealth. I want to start buying properties, holding them. And I heard about the Burr method, and I'm like, this is perfect. It's my last name. Like,
Your last name is Burr.
yeah. So like, how about I just kind of make my marketing and my branding? I'm Mr. Burr. I'm the guy that does it. So I got that idea from Templeton Walker. Temp, shout out. Love you, dog.
Temp's a beast, man. I've had him on the podcast a couple of times. I love Temp.
He's
Temp, we love you.
He's the homie. Yeah, he actually got me into real estate.
Yeah.
So I did a ride along with him. This was back in 2019, fell in love with it. And then he kind of showed me how to start getting deals. And I'd bring them to him, and we'd JV him on flips and stuff, right? And I remember we were walking a property, and he's like, dude, you've done an amazing job of like kind of riding my coattails, riding my wave. But there's something about you that you can do to create your own wave.
Yeah.
Like, you need to find that. Like, I'm cool with you coming with me, and like, it just makes me more money, obviously. But the kind of person Temp is, you know him.
Oh, yeah.
He wants everyone to win.
Yeah.
And he knew that, like, if I just kept riding his wave, I was doing less for myself.
Yeah.
So he gave me the idea, like, just think of something that's unique to you. And it hit me. I'm like, my last name's Burr, the Burr method. How about I be Mr. Burr? That weekend, we made that Mr. Burr video. Remember that?
I remember that, yeah.
We dropped that. It dropped on Valentine's Day of last year, 2020.
Yeah.
And from there, like, I got so many deals, and it's free. Like, it's just a video. People were like, this guy's hilarious. Let me send him this. This would be a good Burr. So, yeah, we ended up buying, we were up to like 9 properties, all just free marketing, doing the Burr method. And then some weren't performing, so we just liquidated like 4 of them, got a bunch of the appreciation out, and now we're just putting them into higher cash flowing properties.
Man, if that's not the definition of just massive action, I don't know what is. It's just, breaking into something. I like the fact that you don't have, I mean, we keep talking about your trajectory, your path, and it's all logical. It's all, there's no emotional like restraints into what I'm hearing here. So, which is very different. I think it's very different from the average person, right? Because there's usually a tendency to be afraid, to be fearful about the unknown, especially if you're breaking into something that can potentially break your pockets.
Right.
All right. Meaning jumping into a business, entrepreneurship, betting on yourself, and more than anything, I think letting go of that false sense of security that biweekly paycheck kind of provides, right?
Yeah.
So the progression that I'm seeing here, it's all logical. Like, yeah, I don't want to pay taxes, so I did something bigger. And behind that, like, I sense a very solid constitution of confidence. Where does that come from?
I honestly don't know. Like, it's almost like,
I don't know. I'm just cocky as fuck.
Like, it's almost like I'm one of those guys that even if I'm not confident in something, I'm going to fake it until I make it. Like, I'm going to act confident even if I'm not. Like, perfect example is, I had a story for you. That first meetup that we met each other at.
Yeah.
It was at the batch office. And I hadn't done anything since October 8th when I left Quicken till that meetup. It was in December.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here really doubting myself. I'm like, what did I do? I left a job where I was making $200,000 a year, like steady paycheck. Like, I should go back. Like, I had all these thoughts. Like, I'm gonna give up on this venture. And I told Temp that. I was like, Temp, like, I don't know what I did, man. I think I should probably go back. And he's like, dude, no.
You told the right guy, by the way.
Yeah. He's like, dude, no, you're not going back. Like, what have you been doing? So we started going over my day, and he's like, dude, you're a people person. Like, you're a social butterfly like me.
Yeah.
Just get around people. Like, get around investors. That's all you got to do, and you'll find deals. And I'm like, well, how do I do that? And he's like, go to meetups. I'm like, fuck. Like, hope I can cuss on this. But like,
no, you're good.
I was like, all right. And it scared the crap out of me because, like, I didn't know anybody. He wasn't going to be there to introduce me to people. So, like, I'm sitting in my car outside of the batch office, like in my thoughts, like, oh man, what am I gonna do in there? I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, how am I gonna stand? Like, who am I gonna talk to? I'm gonna seem so awkward. So I was really like scared to do it, right? Not confident at all. But I went in and I was like, you know what? I'm scared right now. So that means there's probably something really good on the other side of this.
Yeah.
There's no danger, right?
Right.
If I'm scared and there's no danger, what am I scared of?
Yeah.
If I just sit in the corner and don't talk to anyone for 30 minutes and leave.
Yeah.
So I
No
went
harm,
in,
no foul.
I went in, acted super confident, started talking to people. That's when I started getting deals.
Yeah.
Was when I went to those meetups. So, yeah, like the confidence piece just comes from just almost doing it, just acting.
Well, I think acting is one thing, right? But you start to go through the motions, and really, it's almost. I mean, you're into fitness, and I think a lot of it comes from the fitness, space. It takes a certain level of tenacity, commitment, and discipline, right, to be in the fitness world, especially if you're competing. For example, you've competed in the past, right. and you know what that's like. You know what I mean. Right now, aren't you in the middle of a 75 hard? Mm-hmm. Yeah, which it's crazy. Making the pecs bounce, making the pec dance. You saw it here, people. You saw it here first. It's it takes a certain degree of commitment, right, to be able to get to that space. Now, if you don't believe, and this is kind of where how I link everything up, right? But if you don't know what's happening, if you don't have a clear understanding of what's to come, and you have that foggy vision of the dangers and the everything that might be coming at you, it's your sense of not necessarily confidence, but belief in yourself. Like, I know I have the confidence, or not the confidence. I know I have the commitment, the tenacity to make it work. I know I'm gonna figure this out. That figure it out thing has saved my ass more times than I can count.
For sure.
I mean, a lot of times it's just you get to a point where you don't understand, right? And we just don't know what we don't know. As entrepreneurs, we have highs, we have lows, we have. I mean, it's just crazy, and we come across a new challenge, every other day, if not, more often than that.
For sure.
But the mentality. And the self-reassurance, really, that we can figure it out. I think it's what carries us through the way. Now, when you start acting and becoming that person, you don't fake it till you make it. I think you fake it until you become it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think it's drawing on little wins.
Yeah.
Like, I went into that meetup scared to death while I was sitting in the car.
Well, a month later, we were at my birthday party.
Yeah. So like, I went to that meetup and I just was like, just be yourself, dude. Like, just talk to people. Shout out to Brett Daniels, TTP, holla.
My boy.
So just get in there and talk to people, be yourself, and make friends. Be friendly, be likable. People like doing business with people they like.
Yeah.
Right? So that's all I did is I did that. And then when I left there, I had some different people in wholesaling that I made connections with, different people that were realtors. I got a little win. So I put that little win in my back pocket. If ever I'm in a situation where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, I can look at that win where I'm like, hey, you were scared to death in that parking lot. You went in. Now look where you're at because of that choice.
Yeah.
Right? If at that point my choice was, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to go home.
I'm not going to walk in.
I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go home. I'm going to do what's sensible. I'm going to get my job back and fall back in line with my 9 to 5. Yeah. I'd be miserable right now. Yeah. I was miserable working a 9 to 5 because it's not me. I'm not an employee, So that choice catapulted me to where I'm at, and I can take that win and use it in a time where I'm second guessing myself.
Yeah.
I do that a lot now. When I have a little win, when I'm scared to do something or something, there's a challenge, and I beat the challenge, I use it in the future,
Yeah, I started running by this, and I don't know if it's going to be a good thing all the time, right? But at least it's guided me well, or it served me well. And it's if I'm afraid of it, and it's an irrational fear, of course, right? And I'm not going to be, walking into that property that you bought in Chicago without a vest. but if it's an irrational fear, there's no danger, like you said.
Right.
Like, I'm going to do it. Why?
Right.
Because it's going to push me out of that comfort zone. And sometimes, I mean, as entrepreneurs, we see opportunity, right? The saddest thing is to let that opportunity go or just slide because we became afraid of our own success. Of our own success. In this case, I mean, most people may see it as just an event that you know what, I decided not to show up.
Yeah.
Or, you see it as one of the pivotal changes in what you're doing now. I mean,
yeah.
you walked in there, and I mean, I speak from, from firsthand experience, right? Everybody in that office or that meetup, it's like it's an amazing group, right? It's welcoming people type of stuff. But if you would have stayed out in the parking lot, you wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
You would not have connected, gotten the opportunities and whatnot. Now, this is what's scary, man. How many people just kind of pump the brakes on their possibilities just because they're afraid of that interaction? They're afraid of taking that extra step and then just reaching out a little bit, further beyond what they know they can do.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's one of those points in my life. I'll look back at that sitting in that parking lot.
Yeah.
And that's like the fork in the road. If I would have went this way, total different life.
Isn't that crazy? How that's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary to me. Because I have a few moments in that I can pinpoint. Like this was a game changer moment. This was another game changer moment. And had I gone the other way, it's like wow. I don't know what I'd be doing.
I'm a huge advocate of like in the morning more than anything working on yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like I wake up, and as soon as I wake up, I'll grab my phone, put on YouTube motivational videos, Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, right? Gary Vee talks about this all the time. He talks about if you want to really get perspective, go help out like at a nursing home and look in the eyes of people that just have regret.
Yeah.
Regret is like one of the things that's so painful because when you're old and gray, you can't do that business that you wanted to do when you were in your 20s and 30s. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Right? So I never want to have that regret. I don't want to be in a nursing home. Hopefully I'm wealthy enough to where like my family can keep me in a wing of the house, right?
Yeah.
But like
they'll keep you around somewhere.
Yeah, like
You
somewhere.
get the garage, grandpa.
Somewhere. But like I don't want to have that regret like, man, what if I would have done this? What would my life be like? You know what I mean? Because then you can't change it.
There's absolutely, man. I love this. This quote just resonated with me a long time ago, and I think about it all the time. I have a personal, my mornings are mine too, and I have this quote just sitting on my desk at home, and it's I refuse to walk carefully through life, only to arrive safely at my death. It's a Paulo Coelho quote. So,
Ooh.
no, I mean,
Whoa, say it again.
I refuse to walk carefully through life, only to arrive safely at my death.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
he wrote The Alchemist, right?
Yeah.
One of the best books.
One of the best books.
Like,
I mean, that's it.
The great thing about that book, there's so many interpretations of it, like what it means.
Bro, I mean, it's not just a fable. It applies. Like, it's crazy as you're reading the thing. At least in my experience, like I could pick characters and then relate them to somebody in my life.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, this person was this person for me.
Yeah.
I'm that kid.
Yeah.
and yeah, so I mean, it's a really, really good book. So, The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho.
If you haven't read it, read it.
Do it.
If you're not a reader, Audible.
Become a listener or something. I don't know. Just get that information in your head. So yeah, but it's a very. I mean, to me, it was a very profound quote, right? Because I don't want to, like you said, I think one of the worst things is to be on your deathbed, regretting the stuff that you just didn't do. That not even
Just because you were being safe.
You're not even gonna regret the stuff that you failed at because you gave it a shot, right? You're gonna regret the experiences that you just weren't up for because you were afraid because you got held back for whatever reason. So yeah,
Let's unwrap that a little bit because you touched on something that really struck a chord with me is like making mistakes, right? And it goes back to, again, the schooling system, how schools are. If you make a mistake in school, you're almost like considered dumb.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why are you making a mistake?
Yeah.
So, like, the society and how school is, like, trains us to not want to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But really, really stop and think about it. When you make mistakes, what do? You get better. You learn what not to do, how to do it different. Like, making mistakes is great.
Yeah.
The more mistakes you make, the better you get at something. Like Thomas Edison, he found 1,000 ways or whatever the quote is, how to not make the light bulb.
Yeah.
He
found one way to do it.
Yeah, he didn't fail 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't stand when people don't want to fail. Like, I think about the gym. I work out until failure because that's when you get adaptation. That's when your muscles change. Because then eventually, you're not going to fail on that 12th rep, that 13th rep that you did before because your muscles changed. They grew. They adapted. It's the same thing with anything, right? If you fail in a business, you're going to learn what not to do and change it, change course, try something different. If you fail 1,000 times, you're eventually going to succeed.
Yeah.
And you're just going to become better in doing it.
Yeah.
So I love failure, man.
Man, it's the best teacher, I think. It's the best teacher if you see it that way, right? And it's crazy. Again, I mean, we're going back to like the natural wiring of entrepreneurs. We find ways of not doing it. It's scary. It doesn't mean that it's any less scary. Or it doesn't mean that there's no doubt and self-doubt. I mean, it doesn't mean that we have things figured out and lined up. Again, we come across challenges every single day, right? But not being afraid of failure or seeing that as a learning opportunity. It really comes down to either you win or you learn. It's one of the two. I can tell you I've never failed because I either win or I get what I'm going after, I succeed, or I learn. If I learn, I'm still not failing. Why? Because I figured out another way not to do it.
Yeah, I lost money one time on a flip. I've done I think 35 deals in 2 years. So not a ton, but it's all free marketing. So I keep everything that I make. So one deal I lost money on. It was $5,000, but it was a $5,000 lesson. I learned not to do what I did before, which was buy sight unseen.
Yeah.
And we bought on one side of a canal. The other side was where all the comps were at. And it was like 350, 375. We bought at 165. So we're like, oh, this is going to crush.
Yeah.
Right? Our side of the canal, like, it was rough.
It's kind of like the tracks.
Oh,
Wrong side of the track.
Dude, the first person that rolled up with their realtor, the realtor comments were, didn't go inside after seeing the neighborhood. Bro. So, like, we lost $5,000.
Yeah.
But I learned from that failure, that loss, never to buy sight unseen.
Yeah. Well, it's better and faster than a weekend seminar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, like, it really comes down to that mental fortitude, right? And the habits that we work on a daily basis. For example, you have this morning ritual. I mean, you just told me that you prioritize personal growth, and the mornings are very important. I mean, that a simple habit like that is going to line up your day.
Yep.
At the very least, line up your day for growth, for improvement, for seeking out and recognizing opportunities, for gratitude and that sort of stuff. So, how big two questions. Like, one, as an entrepreneur, and it's crazy. 2019, man. From there to here, I mean, so many things have happened where you just started crushing it. But how important is your time to yourself, your morning time, your meditation time, your growth time?
It's everything. It's everything. Like, show me your habits, I'll show you your life. Period.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my habits are every single night. When I go to bed, I've got earphones in listening to affirmations. I fall asleep to affirmations, right?
Wow.
So I'm programming my subconscious while I'm asleep of the things I want to have happen in my life. I'll do affirmations for success, affirmations for wealth, affirmations for love, abundance, affirmations for relationships. Like, I just cycle through those every single night before I go to bed. That's a habit. Yeah. Right?
I do it in the mornings. I have a pretty solid, strong statement that I go like after meditation. I break out of meditation. I jump into gratitude and journaling, which is here. And then
that's something I need to do. I don't journal.
Oh, journal is. There's just something magical, man, about putting your thoughts into paper and getting. You're bringing them into the physical realm, and it's just something.
I do it with my goals, just not journaling. So like every night I listen to affirmations. I fall asleep to them, and then like I'll wake up and my earpods, they're AirPods, they're dead because they only go for so long. So I'll take them out, put them on the charger, and then wake up. I listen to motivational stuff as soon as I get up. Put it on, brushing my teeth, listening to it, and then I go meditate, usually 10 minutes. After that, I go to the gym. So by like 6 o'clock, I've worked on myself for 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know? And that sets my day up for success. Like,
wait, 6 o'clock? What time do you wake up?
3.
Wow.
Yeah. So
insane.
Here's what I could do though.
Insane. Did you guys catch that? 3 a.m.
Here's what I could do though. I could just sleep in till I don't start having calls with my business till about 9. I can sleep until 8:30.
Yeah, if you wanted to.
How effective would I be?
Yeah.
Right?
That's the thing. I mean, you're highlighting something very important here. It's that's your compromise to you, to yourself, right? You're compromising on stuff that matters to you. It's not waking up at 3 a.m. and then doing that thing. I'm sure there's some days that you just don't feel like it.
Oh, yeah.
You're not in
Today
the mood.
was one of them.
You're not in the mood for it. However, if you're sticking to it, I mean, that shows again the level of dedication and tenacity. We can either be interested in creating a better life, or we can be committed to create a better life, right? That's in context, and it looks different to everybody. But at the end of the day, like, it really comes down to that. Like, what things are you committing to for yourself, for your own habits, for your own improvement? And are you really sticking to that stuff? Or are you gonna say, oh, you know what, fuck it, today is it's Wednesday, it's hump day, I'm not gonna wake up at 3 a.m. Or today is Friday. It doesn't how adamant are you about sticking to your own promises to yourself?
I'm huge about it because you touched on it. I used to do bodybuilding, right? And to be able to get on stage with everyone looking at you, all the lights, you have to be just shredded, like no fat. If you have fat on you, even a little bit, you look puffy up there.
Puffy, yeah.
Right? So you have to be like super shredded. The only way to get like that is to be ridiculously disciplined, right? Go to sleep at a certain time. Don't have any salt in your chicken. No alcohol, no sugar, only water, no soda. Like, you have to be so disciplined. And that taught me, like, if I can do that and change my body from someone who's in decent shape, I've never been like out of shape, into someone who's just a like freak of nature in shape, like, what else could I do?
Yeah.
What else could I accomplish? So I always think about this, like, when my alarm goes off, how many people do you know hit snooze? Right?
Yeah.
And what's snooze? 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
If you do that, you're basically saying to yourself that mediocre sleep, because you're not fully asleep for 5 to 10 minutes, mediocre sleep is more important than your life.
Wow.
That's really what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, like, when my alarm goes off, I never hit snooze because my life is more important than mediocre sleep.
I'm gonna remember that tomorrow morning.
For real, dude.
I am that snooze guy. I'll snooze it for 5 minutes, 8 minutes actually. I think it's what's on
really
there.
think about that.
You're
You're
right.
saying
You're
that
completely
mediocre
right.
sleep is more important than your life.
Yeah.
And what I do is I put the phone away from the bed, so I have to physically get up to turn it off, not just snooze. You know, I have to get up out of bed. I get up out of bed. I put on the YouTube motivational stuff.
Yeah.
Go brush my teeth. Drain the snake. The garden snake.
The garden snake. All right.
And then I get on my ritual.
Yeah.
Right? So it's so important, dude. I don't let like those little disciplines slip. And if they do, I'm human, right?
Yeah.
They slip every once in a while, but I don't let them continue to slip day after day. If it slips once, I'm right back on it. You know?
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. How you do one thing is how you do everything, right?
One of my favorite quotes.
And it really is. It really does apply. If you're half-assing it in certain areas of your life, you're going to be half-assing it in other ones.
Right.
Regardless of whether you realize it or not. It's just how you do one thing, how you do everything. So you've seen exponential growth, and I mean exponential over the last couple of years. Right now, like your portfolio and everything that you're doing, what does it look like? What does your operation look like right now?
So we've got, I'm trying to think of short-term rentals, so the Airbnb space, right? We've got 6 of them that are in renovation right now. So they're all going to drop like right around the first of the year, which is great because it's coming into where Barrett Jackson is, waste management. Think that the Super Bowl is here next year.
Yeah,
this year.
I think so.
So, and the location of all those is really centralized to those things. So, we're excited for like 2022 to just crush it on the cash flow side. We've got right now, I think, 5 properties, and they're long term, but we're trying to liquidate those to get them into the Airbnb space because of the cash flow. They're cash cows.
Yeah.
Right. So, work a lot on that. Another part of my business is, I hate even saying it because as soon as people hear it, they're like, it's life insurance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not the regular stuff. It's a very interesting angle to life insurance.
When most people think of life insurance, they think of, let me pay as little as possible to get as much coverage as possible.
Right.
Same thing with anything. Car insurance, health insurance, home insurance. You don't want to pay a lot, but you want to get a lot of coverage.
Right.
When you do that for life insurance, you can't use any of the money. So think of term. You put $50, whatever, you get $1 million coverage.
Yeah.
You can't use the money. What we do is we structure policies with the least amount of coverage, highest amount going in. All that money that goes in, you can use it, and it keeps growing because it's within a life insurance contract. So once I learned about those kind of policies, I funnel all my money through them, and then I use that money to go do real estate deals. So the money's in the policy growing, compounding for the rest of my life, even if I use it. So I use it, go do my real estate, make money in real estate while it's still growing over here, tax-free.
That's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, there's so many different, call it a loophole or whatever, right? But there's so many different strategies out there to make it count and not just, lose your ass on
Remember how I talked about taxes?
Overhead and taxes, yeah.
I hate taxes. Having policies.
I can tell.
Having policies, dude, has made it to where it's almost like a cheat code.
Mm-hmm.
Like this year, I'll make a lot of money. I'll make a lot of money. We make a lot of money with what we do, right?
Yeah.
My taxable income, and this is all legal, $3,000 so far.
Wow.
All because of write-offs, funneling stuff through the policy. Because I can put money in it, take it out, lend it to my business. Now my business has interest that it pays back to me that goes back into the policy. So that interest grows tax-free. I paid no taxes on it because I wrote it off. I can reuse it again, lend it to my business again. And just the more I do that, the less taxes I pay and the more money I get compounding for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I need to break into that kind of stuff because it's really something. I've seen some of it and I understand it to a
like a surface level.
Yeah, surface level, that's it. But I think it's something that's very, very interesting, especially if you're at that level, if you're at that stage where you have to mitigate, right? At first coming into it, bootstrap type of stuff, and you don't have to worry too much about it because you're gonna have a shit ton of expenses anyways. You can deduct and write off and all kinds of stuff. Then, I'm thinking of the word. Depreciation kicks in whenever you start buying assets, but if you have something that goes on top of that, like this. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Are you teaching that stuff? Okay.
So I broke into that right when COVID hit.
Okay.
So like I was telling you, I got my first deal January 13th. That $950 just crushed it with that assignment fee.
Oh yeah.
So I got that.
Spent it all.
I don't even remember. But
bought ice cream.
Don't even say ice cream. I'm on that 75 I can't have any cheats. So from January till March 15th, whenever COVID hit, I did like 7 deals because I started going to meetups, started getting just stuff sent to me. I had a few flips.
Getting out there, yeah.
Had some wholesale deals. So I was like, dude, I'm crushing it. Like, I'm doing it. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and all my deals were coming from going to meetups.
Yeah.
Going and seeing people, going to Trang's meetup, going to the batch office.
I have a question about that before I'll continue. Yeah.
So I had 7 deals going into that, right? And I'm like, I'm crushing it. This is awesome. I can't believe I did this. This is amazing. I'm a business owner. Let's go. COVID hit, and I'm like, damn it. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I can't go to no meetups. How am I going to keep getting business?
Yeah.
So then I just started, like, really just diving into self-development, right? I was listening to podcasts again, just spending all my time reading and just developing myself. And I heard on a podcast the whole infinite banking. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. So I started researching it. I went down the rabbit hole. I'm like immersed in it, up late at night, reading it on my phone, on the stairs of the gym, reading it, just immersed in it, right? And it just made so much sense. So I started a policy, started using it. And once I saw like I can make money in the policy here, tax-free, guaranteed, doesn't matter what the stock market does, then I can use the money at the same time to go make money in real estate. I was like, this is a cheat code. I've got to do more of this. So started getting on TikTok, talking about it on TikTok. Everyone's like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a scam, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Insurance salesman. I wasn't even an insurance salesman. And then other people were like, how do I get a policy? I want to do that. So then I was just funneling people to the guy I got mine through.
I remember that conversation. It was a while back, yeah.
It hit me. I'm like, I'm sending this guy a lot of business. Like, I hit him up. I'm like, dude, is there a way like we could mutually benefit from this? Like, I'm just sending you business. Like,
yeah.
He's like, yeah, you could partner with me on it. You just got to get licensed, and then you set up policies. You get paid commission for 10 years on each policy. The commissions are a lot less because of how we structure them.
Yeah.
But you just got to get licensed. So I went through the licensing process, got licensed in March of this year, and I've written almost 500 policies since March. So
Crazy.
And 500 policies, again, each policy, the commission's a lot less. I think I'm averaging about 1,100 per policy. So I'm at about 500 grand a year, passive income for 10 years, right?
Wow.
But if they were normal policies, not like these, dude, I'd be at like 3-4 million a year.
Crazy. Well, that, I mean, obviously that exploded since March, but you did something really, really smart. I mean, and we were talking about this, and I totally missed that boat, I think. I don't know if I missed it because it's still going on, but you broke into social media. I mean, you went, neck deep into social media, TikTok specifically, right? That was like your bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
All right. So tell me about that. How has specifically that and like that area of social media like helped you build everything that you have?
I mean, that's been huge. That's probably made it to where that's made me all my income this year for the most part.
Wow.
Because I look at it as like a really big net. I'm casting a huge net out there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get a lot of people that hate my guts. Like my goal on social media, on TikTok, is to be polarizing. I want people to hate me or love me.
Yeah.
Nothing in between. Because if they
turn you up or turn you off, one of the two.
If they hate me, they're going to push the algorithm
Yeah.
out to more people by commenting, oh, clown, insurance salesman, scam. They're going to hate me. It's cool.
Yeah.
I support it. Keep hating me. Keep doing it. It's going to push me out to people that love me. They're like, dude, I can relate to this guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's out to help, which I am. I was just giving my knowledge on TikTok. It's all I was doing. Here's how I'm using these policies. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm making money over here and making money over here at the same time with the same dollars. Where else can you do that?
Yeah.
Nowhere. So people like gravitated to that. I'm giving them free value. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Then once I built a following, I could start monetizing it. So I've got affiliates with Batch. I've got funneling people in to get policies so I can help them do what I do. I get paid for that. I get deals from it. So it's opened up revenue sources on a free platform. It's insane.
Crazy. Like how big is your audience right now?
TikTok, just today it hit 700,000.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, you have, almost 1 million people that you can just reach out to in a heartbeat for whatever your message is.
It's been tough though, because at first it was growing like stupid pace. I remember I came to your office. Remember it was like January, and in like a day I gained like 17,000 followers. Like, this is insane. Every day I was gaining like.
I remember that. Yeah.
Every day I was gaining like 15,000, 12,000, 20,000 every day because I just kept putting out content. But then I got super busy. I can't put out as much content. I'm only one person, right?
Yeah.
So like it's slowed down just because I can't put out as much stuff. But it's been a godsend.
Yeah. That's insane, man. That's insane. I love it, man. I mean, the tenacity that you have to find opportunities and gaps. I mean, for example, capitalizing at different stops on the same dollar, on the same deal, on the same type of opportunity. I mean, that takes some creativity. and vision. So big kudos on that, man. I'm proud of what you've done. It's crazy. It's wonderful to see the amount of growth and just exponential improvement and results that you've had over the last couple of years.
I appreciate that, dude.
Big kudos on that. What can you tell somebody who's breaking into entrepreneurship?
Just like words of advice.
I mean, anything. I mean, you're big on personal growth, so this can be, whatever you have on that realm. If somebody's doubting themselves, or somebody is just thinking about making the leap from corporate to building their own dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things. Like it's hard just to say one thing. I think a lot of it is visualization. Like I visualize things all the time. So that's my mornings, right?
Yeah.
I get up, I meditate, I think about what I want my day to look like, what I want my month to look like, what I want my year to look like, while the world's quiet, right?
Yeah.
If I get up at 9 o'clock, the dogs are barking, my daughter's getting ready for school, my wife is like, clean the dishes, do the laundry, it's loud, right? If I get up at 3, it's quiet. It's just me. There's no cars zipping by outside. It's just me in my thoughts. So I would have people just get up and visualize things, get up early, like an extra hour of sleep. You can give that up. You can give up an extra 30 minutes. Like you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Right. Another thing. So it's 2 things then. Visualization. That's huge. Second is gratitude. I carry this for 2 purposes. Chapstick, right?
Yeah.
Chapstick's for your lips, right?
Yeah.
But it's in my pocket at all times. Whenever I reach in my pocket and feel it, even if I don't got to put chapstick on, it's a signal for me to get to be grateful.
Thankful, yeah.
Yeah, just think about something.
Wow, it's an anchor. You use it as an anchor.
Yeah.
I used to carry around a tiny rock.
I used to do that too. I used to do that too, and I lost it.
Yeah.
So I figure I'm always going to have a chapstick because it doesn't have to be a chapstick. It could be any chapstick.
Yeah.
I reach in and I feel it. I'm like, just think of some things to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Because the more you're grateful,
love that,
you attract more things to be grateful for, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, this has probably made me $1 million.
Yeah.
Right here. Just this.
Chapstick.
Just this chapstick.
Well, it's the gratitude behind it, right? I mean, I think it's a father of all virtues. It really opens.
It holds 2 purposes too.
Oh yeah. keep your lips soft and tender, and then give you wealth.
Yes.
Yeah, best invention ever. But I think gratitude, it really is the father of all virtues, because it opens you up for everything else. If you're grateful, you're gonna find beauty in stuff.
Right.
You're gonna find opportunity in stuff. Why? Because you're grateful, and sometimes we might be waiting for that sense of validation to kick in and whatnot. And gratitude can kind of be forgotten. But if you come back and then just you're grateful for everything that you have in your space, your health, even the smallest things, man. I've learned to be grateful about the little things, right?
Yeah.
And it's wonderful when you can have that sensation of joy just come through your body and really energize you. For the simple fact of being grateful. Sitting in your backyard, just enjoying the weather, the nice, cool weather, and a cup of coffee.
Well, dude, we've talked about this. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
We're nothing but energy.
100%.
Your energy, this is energy, this is energy. At its core, it's just energy vibrating.
Yeah.
At a very fast pace.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah. Everything is like that. So at all times, you have energy. It's just how you're using it. And if you're constantly thinking about, oh, woe is me, I don't have this, I don't have that, you're attracting more of that to you.
Yeah.
Right? I think about it like this. Like if I've got a Honda Civic, no offense to anyone that's got a Honda Civic, but let's say a beat up Honda Civic, and I'm driving that, and I'm not grateful for it, what makes me think I'm going to be grateful if I've got a Lamborghini?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be grateful for a Lamborghini either. Yeah. Right? I should be grateful that I have something that makes it to where I don't have to walk.
Yeah.
And if I don't have that, I should be grateful that I can walk.
Yeah.
Right? If I can't walk, I should be grateful that I've got 2 arms to use my wheelchair.
Yeah.
If I can't do that, I should be grateful that I've got a little straw to...
Or something, yeah.
Something. Like, be grateful for whatever you have, or you'll never have more.
Yeah.
Period. You know, like, I think that's huge, man. That's probably one of the biggest things that's given me success is just gratitude.
100%. That analogy escalated quickly, but I totally see your point.
I'm talking about a guy in a wheelchair with a little straw.
Yeah, no, but I totally see your point, though. It's easy to forget how amazing, the life in front of us can be, right? If we just look at it the right way. We can choose our response to situations. If you're always reacting and not thinking, taking a moment to think about what happened. For example, failure. We were talking about failure earlier, right? Fail at something is like, it's funny because my team will hear me say, fuck yeah. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, we just, that deal fell through, or it's falling through, or we have a problem. Like, yeah, but it's an opportunity to come in and then, improve. And I'm grateful for that kind of stuff, right? So we have the ability to be grateful and then choose our reactions to situations. And when you mix the two, man, it's almost hard, right? It's almost hard to not live in awareness and in a conscious space of joy. You're smiling all the time. Every time I see you, you're smiling. You have that cool energy. Why? Because you're grateful. Like that makes perfect sense now.
Grateful and just, I don't let negative thoughts get to me.
Yeah.
Like everyone has negative thoughts. Like I'm not Superman. I've got negative thoughts often, right? But I learned this from Tony Robbins. When you have a negative thought, it's not your thought.
Yeah.
Everyone has that same kind of thought.
You weren't born with a negative thought.
Yeah. People before you had that same thought.
Yeah.
So if you view a thought in your brain when it goes through, you're just viewing it. It's not yours.
Yeah.
It's just a thought. Yeah. Instead of holding on to that thought and saying, "Oh my gosh," like
let it come and go.
Then it festers. Just let it go by. Like that's it. Like I've got them all the time, but I just view them as just a thought.
I think we're opening a can of worms here, but there's a dichotomy of control, right? The stuff that we can control and the stuff that we cannot control. Stress, failure, and like the bad energy, the bad sensations, low vibration type of stuff. It's usually due to a fixation in stuff that we cannot control.
Yeah.
Meaning, you know what? I'm not able to control the economy of the country. I can to a certain level have impact on mine, right?
Right.
But I can't focus on stuff that's outside of my control. When you focus on that kind of stuff, and you align yourself to that kind of result based on something that's outside of your control, then you're exposed. You're exposed to failure. You're exposed to fear. You're exposed to feeling less than. However, if you bring that in and you let those thoughts come and go, just like you said it right now, and you focus on the stuff that you can control, you can focus on, I hate taxes, and I can be, throw a fit about it, right? Or I can come up with smart shit like the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah.
That you can control. You can't control Uncle Sam, but you can control your personal taxes.
Yeah.
Right? and
it's so true though.
It is.
It's so true. Like I used to get mad when I was younger that I was short. I'd get mad at it. Like,
bro, bring it here.
Dude, I grew up playing basketball. There's this picture of me.
We're not short. We're just vertically challenged, all right?
Facts.
There's
this picture of, it's a picture of my brother, actually. I'm in the background shooting on a little...
we're not short. We're fun size.
This is true.
Facts.
I'm shooting on this little basketball hoop. It's the play school hoop, right? I'm like this tall. I'm like 2 or 3 years old. Follow through is just wet, right? So I've been playing basketball my whole life almost. I used to get so mad that I was short. Like I'd get so pissed off about it. I'm like, why am I short? Why did this happen to me? Instead of focusing on that, I started focusing on like, man, I'm pretty handsome. You know what I mean? Like, I've got a good body. Like,
can't move my pecs.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. Life is too short to be focused on things that you can't control, that bring you down and put you in a ugly state.
Yeah.
Life is all about the state that you're in.
Absolutely.
Right? Like
100%.
You can live in a beautiful state just by controlling your thoughts. And that's why I meditate. That's why I work on self-improvement, because
that you can control.
Yeah. You can 110% control what's going on in your head. Yeah. Like when I have a negative thought, I'm controlling the fact that I just view the thought and I just let it go. I'm controlling that. Yeah. Right. And I replace it with something empowering to put me in a beautiful state so I live a beautiful life.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
So it's what's empowering to you. I know, for example, me, when I'm in a funky spot and I have this, I believe it or not, I graphed out this whole algorithm of my behavioral patterns. So I know when I get like super excited about something, I know what's coming after that. And if I hit a benchmark or I fail at something, I know what's coming after at an emotional level, right? So I track that, and I started tracking my behaviors, my responses, and just to have a conscious awareness of how it works.
That makes so much sense with your personality.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's like, yeah. I mean, I'm feeling super elated. Like I'm super happy. I'm gonna start trying to pull the trigger on all kinds of crazy shit like in 15 minutes. It's just, it's how it works. But I took it to that level of understanding for myself, right? Now I know that if I'm in a funky place, one thing that brings me right back up, it's books.
Yeah.
If I go and I start reading, it gets me out of my headspace, right?
Yeah.
So that's empowering to me. I know that it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't even matter the book has to be interesting, right? Of course. But if I'm having, I don't know, a business challenge, I can go read a book on history or something. And it's just going to take me out of that space. So I need that disconnect. I know that's empowering to me. What's empowering to you? What do you do whenever you're in that funk?
I would say it's my wife, my kid, and my dogs. Like if I'm just having a rough time, rough day, things aren't going my way, I can just disconnect and go play with my puppies, go play with my daughter, give my wife a hug, give her a kiss. Like that's what's really important. Like at the end of the day, you could take all my money away. You could take all my possessions away. Don't take my knowledge, because if you take my knowledge, I can't earn it back. I have to get the knowledge back.
Yeah.
Don't take.
It's kind of hard. If your knowledge is gone, I mean, you have bigger problems.
Take away my money. Take away my possessions. Leave me with my family and my knowledge. I'll build it all back. Yeah. Because I've got them to support me.
See, it's that whole figure it out mentality that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it, bro. Dude, thank you so much, man. This thing has been a blast. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, it'd be pretty cool if they could just reach out to you and then ask you if they have questions about the insurance stuff. I know we're going to talk about that because it's intriguing, and I want to understand more of what it really is, what it takes, the ins and outs. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best place to find you? Or where's the best place to find you?
Instagram direct messages. So just my Instagram is Mr_Burr. That's B with 4 R's. The Burr method.
Mr_Burr. We'll have it on the show notes.
Yeah.
Perfect, man. One thing, favorite question. It's if you were walking down the street and you ran into your 17-year-old self, what would you tell that kid?
Gosh, man, I would tell him, man, work on yourself.
Yeah?
Work on yourself. Because I didn't know my potential back then. I didn't know it. I was just caught up with being a 17-year-old kid, having fun, drinking, going to parties. Like the fact of the matter is when I was 17, the people that were in my life then, there's no one in my life from that back then now. So how important were they? Right?
Yeah.
Like none of those friends are friends still, right? So what should have been important is just working on myself, becoming a better person, becoming just more valuable. Like, I think you're paid for your value.
Yeah.
Period. Right? If you work at McDonald's, no offense against anyone that works at McDonald's, you don't make a lot of money because you don't provide that much value. A machine could take an order. Yeah. Right? So become more valuable, earn more money. Once you earn more money, do good things with it. Like I would just tell myself, work on yourself, man. Stop being. It's crazy because like working on yourself is selfish, right? In a sense, but it's not. You're working on yourself so you can provide more value to someone else. But when I was 17, I was selfish, but not working on myself. Selfish as in like I just want to go out and have fun. I want to do this. I want to do that. If I was selfish working on myself, that's going to help more people.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. And I totally, totally agree. Bro, it's been a blast having you. Appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, sir.
Being here. Got to do it again.
It was a pleasure.
All right. There you guys have it. Devin Burr and the CO Pulse Podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Stay focused. You got this. Bam! Woo!